Hey, what's up, friends? Today we're doing something a little different. I've got my friend next to me here, Elissa Henry, attorney at law, and we're going to go over some legal matters for motorcycles. Everything we're talking about is going to be very specific to Texas. So if you're not in Texas, it doesn't apply to you. If you are, then listen up. Elissa, how are you today?
I'm fine.
Nice to
How are
see you.
you? Same here.
Yeah. So today I have a list of questions here. Some of these things are things I've heard through the grapevine that yes, you can, no, you can, and all these other things. So we'll just go through this list. First off, though, why did you become a lawyer?
Well, I guess since I was very young, I knew that I wanted to become a lawyer. But there was one event in particular when I was about 10 years old. My father was hit while he was on his motorcycle. Another driver went through a stop sign and just completely T-boned him,
Ooh,
and he was severely injured. I would say it took him many years, 5+ years, to even just get back to a baseline of what his life was like prior to the wreck.
oh, wow.
But seeing the whole legal process surrounding that, it was something I wanted to get involved in. I didn't think his case went particularly well, so I was interested in ways to help change that.
And very sorry to hear that. It's terrible. Any accidents like this. But did he ride again?
Never. He said
Never.
he would never get on a motorbike again.
Yeah, that's one of those 50-50 things. Some people get in really horrible wrecks on a motorcycle. And as soon as they're in there, they say, I'm never going to do that again. And as soon as they're well enough, they're like back on a motorcycle. Or it's just like, no, I've had it with that.
Right.
That's good. See ya. All right, interesting. So what areas of law are you specializing in?
So right now I'm handling motor vehicle collisions, probate, and family-based immigration.
Okay. And then the automobile would definitely be what we're talking about today
Yes, it
is
is.
vehicles, two wheels or four.
Yes.
Um, so with that in mind, I don't think a lot of people think about this, but what happens, if you are in an accident in a motorcycle, you're on your motorcycle, you get hit, and really depends on how severely you're injured, if you're well enough to stand up, or so what kind of things or tips do you have for the viewers?
Well, if you're ambulatory and you can get away, definitely get to safety. Whether you can move the bike or not doesn't matter. It's just important to get out of the road, because a lot of collisions that we see with motorcyclists happen after the initial collision, because they're still in the roadway. They're not safe. Other drivers don't know what's going on or can't see them. And then there's a secondary injury from that. So definitely number one is getting to safety if you are ambulatory, and then documentation, taking photos from a safe place if you can. Definitely calling law enforcement because you want to have this documented,
Mhm.
and then exchanging insurance information with the other party.
And then yeah, I mean, that's just a broad spectrum of, one of my friends crashed. He told his bike, but the way he fell and he had full gear, he just popped right up and walked off to the
Mm-hmm.
curb. He was fine. He just messed up all his gear and broke
Mm-hmm.
his bike. But and then there's people that are just going to get really, really severely injured and maybe unconscious and all that stuff. So what can we prepare for? Like, just as riders, we're not in an accident. What things can we prepare for to just in case?
So there's actually a lot of things that riders can do to kind of prepare for the future. Riding a motorbike comes with a higher risk in general. So whether that be severe injury or death, it is wise to plan for that. Some things that motorcyclists can do are, number one, make sure that they have an estate plan in place. Now, an estate plan, no one likes to talk about death,
Yeah.
but an estate plan is not just about death. It can also address what happens if you're in a wreck and you're just injured so badly that you can't make decisions for yourself, or you're injured so badly that you're needing assistance with normal tasks of daily living. So an estate plan will, yes, of course, include what everyone knows as a last will and testament, but it can also include documentation such as statutory durable power of attorney if someone needs to make financial decisions for you because you can't. A medical power of attorney if someone needs to make medical decisions for you. And then there's also other things like a do not resuscitate order if that's something that you have a strong belief about. And also what's known as an advance directive or living will. Those particular documents can really take the burden off of your next of kin or your family member or spouse, because it lets medical professionals know what your intentions are. If you require a feeding tube or a ventilator or some extreme medical help, is it something that you want to go through with, or do you just want pain management? And it really helps identify what your wishes are, and makes it easier for both the medical professionals and also your family.
All right, let's move on to something a little bit more happy. Well, helmets. So, different countries, different states in the U.S. have laws about helmets, and do you need to wear them or not? And I do know that we need to wear helmets here in Texas. But what's there's a little caveat there. What is that?
Yeah, so you should wear a helmet and you are required to wear a helmet, but there's so much of a large exception to that we see lots of riders without helmets, and law enforcement really doesn't do anything about it, or in some instances can't do anything about it. So if you are under 21 in the state of Texas, you are absolutely required to wear a helmet.
Hmm.
If you are 21 or older, then you have the option of purchasing additional medical coverage, so that if you are involved in a collision while on your motorcycle, you have the insurance to take care of that and you're not relying on other resources or out of pocket for that. If you do have that, then you don't need to wear a helmet. You should carry proof of that insurance coverage with you in case you are ever stopped. But in Texas, law enforcement can't stop you just because you don't have that helmet on.
Hmm.
They would need to get you on another infraction, and then they can investigate further to see if you are exempt. If not, then you'll probably wind up with a double citation, but
Yeah. So
that's how you
listen
go
up,
about it.
all you cruiser riders out there. That's the lifestyle. A lot of people on cruisers don't like to wear helmets, but um, yeah. So that's kind of the trick. It's like you can ride around without a helmet if you want to. Again, it's not really advisable to do that, and the police can't do much about it,
Right.
as you said. So that's
Mm.
that's interesting. So that's one of the things I heard about. Someone said, "Oh yeah, you don't have to wear a helmet, but it wasn't quite clear. So thanks for clearing that up." Um, as many of us do, we ride around. Some of us listen to music or make phone calls because we've got these expensive headsets in our
Mhm.
helmets. Is that legal to do that? To listen to music while you ride, or have a phone call, or
So listening to music, just like when you're in a regular vehicle, motor vehicle, four-wheeled vehicle, is fine. But it's really a matter of safety. Is if you're wearing earbuds or headphones, is that distracting you, or is it preventing you from being aware of your surroundings? So while there's not really any legal prohibition on doing it, it's more of practicality. Also, with making phone calls, same rules apply with motor vehicles. It needs to be hands free. So, if you have the ability to make a call just by voice command, then you're not breaking any rules.
okay? And what about, excuse me, like the helmet I have, I have a newer headset in there, and it is voice command and hands free, but there's still a lot, and mine does have the buttons as well. But some of the older ones are button activated. So when you're
Hmm.
riding and you a phone call is coming in, some of them
Hmm.
you have to touch a button to actually answer it.
There's probably an argument there that that is not hands free.
And then, but it's one of those things that they would have to really catch you in the
Right,
act of doing
right.
it. Okay, so again, this is kind of attached to this is for people like me to do motovlogs, like filming. A lot of people have a GoPro here for making YouTube videos or just recording their own rides for themselves,
Hmm.
just to look back on them. And there's a variety of cameras. One of them, it would be kind of GoPro that would be on your helmet here,
Hmm.
or ones that attach to your handlebars and are recording your your
Hmm.
your traffic, your ride and all that. How's that work?
So there's absolutely nothing wrong with recording. Again, as long as it's not a handheld device, you're clear. I know there's plenty of motorcyclists who like to attach it to the helmet or to
Hmm.
the bike itself or even to their body. All of those things are allowed. I even encourage it. Now, I do like the setup where you get a 360 view because right now a lot of the cameras that are on the market are forward facing.
Hmm.
And that can help you if you're in a collision, if whatever caused the collision was in front of you. But a majority of times, motor vehicle collisions are going to involve something that happened in the
Well,
field of
behind you.
vision to your side or
Yeah,
behind
a
you.
lot of people get
Yes.
hit from at red lights because the bike. That's why we tell people, or I myself, when I stop at a red light, I give myself space, and I also park off to the left or to the right of the car in front of me,
Yes.
so I have a little escape route. But if you're lined up right behind the car in front of you, you could actually blend in to that car, and there's a lot of cases where bam, you just get hit from behind,
Yes.
and there's nowhere to go. You're just sitting there.
So, I mean, even having forward facing video, it's better than having nothing, but I would go with the 360 if it's an option.
Yeah, 360 is fun. Um, so that's good. So it's a safety thing. I know one of my friends, he had cameras built into his bike. So he had a
Mhm.
little camera in the front. I don't know the name of the company, but
Mhm.
it was built into the front and it was built into the back. So he had two cameras facing front and back. And I don't know if they met. I don't think they were complete 360, but it was
Mhm.
close.
From a legal standpoint, that's actually really good because there's already this perception among jurors that if a motorcycle was involved in a motor vehicle collision, that the motorcyclist likely has some fault in it. So it's great if you have a video recording showing, no, you were doing everything right. This was someone else's fault, someone else's negligence.
Mm, okay. Good to know. Lane splitting or lane sharing are two of the kind of ways to describe this. Again, certain states have different rules about this. Texas is unique in that, again, this is one of those things I heard about that it was like you can't do it, but there's this gray area. I don't know what do we have to say about that?
So, with the lane splitting or lane filtering, there's no law specifically prohibiting it, but there's also no law allowing it. So, if an officer or law enforcement wants to cite you, they can because they can do it as an improper passing or they'll find some other part of the transportation code to cite you on. So, if it's absolutely necessary and you need to do it to keep that ventilation going, I would say you would have an argument that your only alternative was to possibly stay there and
And
bake
pass
and
out.
pass out. Yeah.
Well, here in Texas, as we know, we get into, late July and August, and we've got, sometimes weeks in a row of triple digits.
Hmm.
And if you wear full gear, and this is what I definitely one of the reasons why a lot of cruiser people don't wear helmets and they wear t-shirts, they like to stay cool. Um, Not only cool looking, but also temperature wise. But I ride with full gear,
Hmm.
and I've got Kevlar in my pants. I've got full protection. All this. I look like a little space guy. But when you stop at a light and you've got the engine under you baking, you're in 100-degree weather. You've got a helmet. The only thing you do is open the lid. That doesn't help much.
Right.
I wish we had the ability to lane filter here without fear of getting in trouble.
Hmm.
But I think the fear is that from the state level is that people would abuse that and they would lane filter on the freeway doing 95 miles an hour.
Yes.
And people do it here. I've seen them. It's just, not,
Right.
not legal. So at this point, there's no law saying you can't, but there's no law saying you can.
Right.
And there's probably some code in there about four-wheeled vehicles sharing the same lane. That's not really feasible, but there's probably some code in there that it could nail you on.
Correct. And also, just thinking about it from a legislative perspective, the data shows that Texas has one of the highest rates of individuals driving under the influence or driving while intoxicated, as well as one of the highest speed limits in all of America.
Mm.
That coupled with individuals in Texas not really always carrying the level of insurance that they should, or being completely uninsured and unlicensed. So I can understand it from both perspectives, but I do think it needs to be addressed.
Yeah, I'm all for doing that, but again, that would be I did a little research on my own, just
Mhm.
looking at lane filtering and across different states, and that was
Mhm.
one of the. It was always the top three or four
Mhm.
reasons for fatalities or accidents for
Yes.
motorcycles is people
Mhm.
lane filtering and like clipping the side mirror of the car or lane filtering on a freeway when there's not traffic and
Mhm.
everyone's going fast and you're just going a lot faster. So some people would definitely abuse that. But for me, I just want, when I get to a red light and there's traffic and it's 100 degrees, I want to go. I want to keep
I hear
moving
you.
and getting that airflow so that I don't like baked potato
Yes.
myself. Um, and then last thing, passengers. So not I don't ride, as we say, two up in the motorcycle world. I don't ride anybody on the back of my bike. Um, so passengers, are there any special laws or regulations for them to follow or be careful of?
Yeah, so passengers just need to be 5 years or older. Again, I wouldn't recommend it, especially because of, like I said, those other drivers on the road not necessarily being so caring or careful toward motorcyclists.
Hmm.
So I just personally wouldn't put a child in that situation. But it is legal to have children 5 years or older as passengers. They do need to wear a helmet. Anyone 21 or under the age of 21 needs to wear a helmet. Um,
Regardless of insurance. Yeah.
Correct,
Hmm.
regardless of insurance. But other than that, there's really nothing special that applies to passengers. I think there are some technical rules as to what your motorcycle needs to be equipped with if you have a passenger, making sure there is an actual passenger seat, and I believe some
Pegs.
sidebars,
Yeah.
yes, well, and pegs, yes,
Hmm.
correct.
Yeah. No, no duct tape. Duct tape my kid to the back of the bike. All right. Well, that's very good. Nice information. There were a couple in there were one of those things where every time I go to a bike meet, someone was, Joe knowledge and like, oh, you can't, blah, 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 and then
Right.
others like, no, 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 you get it. And so it's nice to finally get answers to those.
Yes, of course.
Um, so any of you guys out there riding around in I would say the Austin area, if you have questions or you've been in an accident or you need an attorney, Elisa's right here, so give her a call. I'll put at the end of the video, I'll put up her information if you want to contact her. And that's about it. Thank you so much, Lisa, for your
Thank you,
time. I
of
appreciate it so
course.
much.
Yes, I
And
had fun.
yeah.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Later.
Take care.